The following podcast is a Lady K Enterprises production.
Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for all women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationships, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Kalima, aka Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in into What Do You Do Pt.2. And this is the continuation of State Representative Maureen Madden of the 112th District in Pennsylvania have a conversation as she goes more into depth about her role and why it's important for you to know as a registered voter. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. I do have to piggyback off of you. I do want to say Governor Wolf, he does exemplify excellent leadership, and I am with him. Most of the things that he does bring up the concern and how to protect the people of Pennsylvania. So I really do appreciate that he actually took the time to say, you know what, I'm going to issue the stay-at-home order for all of Pennsylvania, because it's so amazing, right, Maureen? The other day I was on a Facebook thread, right, and this is when Governor Wolf was just slowly saying, okay, I'm going to have 4 counties, and then he up until 17 counties. And like I said, I was on a Facebook thread, and one person said, well, Governor Wolf, instead of just doing, the counties slowly, won't you do the whole Pennsylvania? And then my thoughts to that person, I said, because it said in the opening line of the thing I was reading, it says Governor Wolf will encourage all to stay home. He said, but the following counties, please do this. And in my mind, I'm thinking to this individual, if he said he would encourage all Pennsylvanians, why don't you take that note and just self-quarantine yourself? Like, it's common sense, but it's so sad that he had to enforce everyone. So now everyone wants to listen. It's like, come on, make his job less easier.
And here's the thing that the average person in Northeast Pennsylvania in Stroudsburg or East Stroudsburg who has the benefit of Blue Ridge Communication and has the benefit of a Walmart, in East Stroudsburg, and a Walmart in Mount Pocono, and a Lowe's and a Home Depot, just dotted everywhere.
Right.
There are places in rural Pennsylvania that do not even have landlines in the 21st century, Kalima, let alone, I have a colleague, her name is Pam Snyder, and she is a legislator in the West. She said, Maureen, I have some constituents who don't even have landlines. They don't have cell phone service. They certainly don't have internet.
Wow.
And even here in Monroe County, we have people who are still relying on dial-up. So for Governor Wolf to impose that all over the state would put, and there are clusters of Pennsylvania where people are so to themselves in these little towns that they never venture out of their towns. They don't even have one case of the coronavirus. So if they have to go to the local feed store or the local hardware store because they don't have big box stores, well, the governor can't shut them down and cut off their source of anything. What if you're a farmer? You need to mend your fence, or you don't need to get grain. So he was being diligent and following medicine and what the doctors were saying, and what, because this is an organic changing event every single day. It evolves and it changes every day.
Right. And I get that part. And like you said, you want to think about it from all perspective. But my thought was when that gentleman said, because this was a gentleman that, of course, as you can see, he had access because he was on Facebook. It was like, why don't you do it for all? And it's like, well, why don't you, do what you need to do for your family? Like, it makes sense. Why do the government have to go even that hard for people to listen? Why don't you make up your side mind and say, you know what, this is a serious matter. Let me take the necessary precaution, for my family,
Absolutely. And here's the thing. for anybody who's listening, Pennsylvania schools have been canceled indefinitely, and most of the schools have switched to an online-based learning system.
Right.
But there are quite a number of school children who do not have internet. So what do we do for them? Which is why they're looking at, I believe it has been passed. I'd have to double check, but whatever, if you have done well in school up to this point and you were passing, they're looking to promote you to the next grade, regardless of whether or not we go back to school. And they've already waived the 180 days.
Okay.
Children do not have to go to school for 180 days for this school year. And they're looking to pass legislation around. If you were doing well, you can be promoted to the next grade. And that is how that is how we're equitable. We can't say these kids are going to the next grade in Stroudsburg because they had internet and they were able to do their work. But kids in the extreme west of the state, little towns where they don't have internet and don't have access to online learning, you're going to get held back because you weren't able to finish the school year through online learning. So this is how we make it equitable for everyone. And then next year when we go back to school, we pick up where we left off and we see who are the children that fell behind and need that extra work. And then we work with them.
You know what? I think that's really fair, and I think that's a wise and smart decision. I appreciate that. Was you part of making that decision?
No, I was not part of that decision.
Okay.
However, so far everything is coming from the governor's office. Now we will be in session next week.
Okay.
On the 6th, and I will not be going to Harrisburg because Monroe County is the hot spot for the COVID virus based on our proximity to New York. We are the number one hotspot in all of Pennsylvania based on our population, our proximity. And Dr. Fauci, who works for the CDC and the World Health Organization, who's the gentleman on television every day with the president giving updates, he said that 60% of all the new cases and the community spread are originating from New York. That's why it was so essential for us to shut down the Airbnbs and curtail the bus service. People were asking after Mark's voluntarily stopped with the bus service, what about Greyhound? And I've gotten updates, and Greyhound is only running one bus a day, and there's probably not 10 people on that bus, but they are essential people, first responders who are working 12-hour shifts, and they come back to the Poconos, and that's their time to sleep. If they had to drive a car, they would pass out behind the wheel.
Right.
And I know this because I spoke to a constituent whose husband was a first responder, and she was like very worried about her husband. This is how he rests on the bus.
Wow.
So, but getting back to your point about what is like part of any of those decisions. So the governor talks about what he wants. He talks to the leaders of both parties. There's legislation that is sponsored if it needs to be, if he can't do it by executive order. And those will be the bills we will look at when we go to Harrisburg on the 6th of April. And we went to Harrisburg about 3 weeks ago and we passed new rules. So now all of us can vote from our offices here in Monroe County or Northampton County or wherever you live. You can watch what's going on online. We text our whip. We tell them how we want to vote on that bill. We all caucus together. And what that means is the Democrats go in one room and the Republicans go in the other. And we discuss all the bills. We do that in real time using an app called Teams. So even though I'm not physically there, I will be there voting on everything, and I will know everything that's going on, as well as most of my colleagues, because I don't think there's probably 50 people going to Harrisburg these days.
Okay.
It's too irresponsible.
Right. Right. And I get that. Maureen, I thank you for everything because it gave me a lot of insight, how things work. And I know if I feel that way, I know a lot of people out there too, they're trying to figure out how does it work? How do they pass stuff? What do they do? So that was very informative. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to leave the people with?
Yes, I would like to leave the people with, if you have any questions or any concerns around the virus, you can go to the United Way's website. They are updating it in real time, all the time, with all the latest resources. The Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau also has an excellent website, and all of these organizations are working with our community partners at St. Luke's Hospital, at Lehigh Valley Pocono Hospital, and all the latest up-to-date information is there. And if anybody needs any information about filing for unemployment or any of the federal services, they can certainly call my office. And we're not in the office, but every one of my employees is working remotely from home. They can do everything from home that they can do in the office.
Wonderful.
So, yep. And if I can mention the two numbers of my office.
Go ahead. Yes, please provide that.
In Colbot Township, our number is 570-894-7905. And in Stroudsburg, the number is 420-2850. And then just the last thing I would like to leave you with is that the governor was in his press conference yesterday, and all the governors across the country are urging everybody to vote by mail. And so I would like to leave this web address with you, www.votespa.com/register online. You can fill out an absentee ballot form, a mail-in ballot form. When it's time to vote, they will send you the ballot with everybody's name on it. You'll be able to fill it out, send it back in, and you will not have to show up at the polls if you're nervous about the COVID virus. And then the other thing, our primary was originally April 28th. Now it's June 2nd.
Right. Thank you, Maureen. I just have one quick question before we wrap up. I know you said, the sources available online. Do you know if also they're going to be helping people with mortgages and their rent assistance and utilities?
Yes.
Okay.
So it is my understanding that no utility companies are shutting off anybody's water or anybody's electricity. If they call our office, our PPL has some different resources that people can use on track. LIHEAP has been extended because of this.
Wonderful.
And Attorney General Josh Shapiro and the Supreme Court upheld this, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. No one can be evicted during the month of April. Let me repeat that. No one can be evicted during the month of April.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I love that. Thank you so much, Maureen. I appreciate you coming up here and sharing this with my audience. Guys, I hope you was able to take vital information. Everything that she provided, please write it down and please share it with everyone. Continue to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Lady K Chat. And if you need any additional resources, you can always go on my website at www.ladykenterprises.inc. And you guys have a great night. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And good luck to everybody. Be safe.
Thank you.